And I'm live, and I'm going to wait for you guys to get logged on. I'm trying this new thing today. It's called Live Link, and it's supposed to connect my live to everywhere. It's supposed to connect it to my. Hi, Glenda. Hi, Demetria Fields. How are you? I'm live, you guys, and I'm going to talk to you today about down payment assistance programs. Hi, Dawn. Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk to you guys about trying to get into a home or getting into a home with limited funds, with limited down payment. You know, that seems to be my demographic, people with limited funds. And I'm okay with that. I love my people who don't have a whole lot of money. I'm good with that. Because my mission and my goal is to be able to help everybody from all walks of life to achieve home ownership, okay? So I try to align myself with everything or every program possible, and I've done this from the beginning of my career. I've aligned myself with every program possible to help folks get in position to purchase a home and then eventually so that they can start building wealth, okay? So I wanted to talk to you about some down payment assistance programs. So I'd like for you all to chime in and just let you know I am representing Catalyst Real Estate Professionals as always. I want you guys, because I want this is an interactive, hi, thank you, Chris, I appreciate that. This is an interactive discussion, okay? So I want you guys to ask me as many questions as you can, and I don't want to keep this super long like I normally have them. Like, I've had so many questions and my live's been going on like an hour and a half, and I don't want to keep you that long because I know it can get cumbersome. But I wanted to provide you with a ton of information that you can use, that you can share with your folks. Again, I'm going to be talking to you about getting in a home with limited funds with down payment assistance. It's so important. It's pretty much, kind of my not only my sphere of influence, my people that I'm around. We have a lot of limited funds, but also, my client base. I work with a lot of people who don't have a whole lot of money down. They have a job. I believe if you have a job, you should own a home. You should not be renting. And if there's issues with credit, we'll work that out. But I am here to say, hey, this opportunity is available to everybody. We just got to work through some of the pieces, okay? So what is down payment assistance? Down payment assistance, there are different types of down payment assistance. There are grants and there are loans. So grants is an assistance that you do not have to pay back. It's a beautiful thing. And then you have loans, which are added to your loan. But for the most part, they're silent seconds. So you don't have to pay on those loans initially, okay? So you'll have like a second that'll take care of your down payment, and then you'll have a third that'll take care of your closing costs, because when you're purchasing, you need down payment, you need money for closing costs. If if you don't have it, or the seller is not willing to pay any of your closing costs. So excuse me. So you could have a loan, which is a silent second that you eventually will have to pay it back. A grant, you will not have to pay it back. But with all of them, down payment is not free, because you're going to pay in one way or another. So say you have an FHA loan, 3.5% down. On a typical FHA loan with somebody, say with a 680 credit score, your interest rate is going to be about 3.5 to 3.875, okay? If you're going to get the grant, which you don't have to pay back, you're going to have to get a higher interest rate. So you're going to pay for this down payment assistance in one way or another. You're going to pay for it in the rate. So your rate's probably going to be anywhere between 4.375 to 4.5%, sometimes up to 5% down, or 5% interest rate. So you're paying the additional money that you're paying on the payment, you're really paying for the down payment assistance. So that could be a difference of a couple $100s on your mortgage payment, depending on the loan amount. But I just want you to know, even though there's things that are free, nothing is really free, okay? I always encourage people to use down payment assistance if you need it, okay? Because down payment assistance is not an easy thing to do. So it's a little bit more cumbersome than a regular loan. So you're going to have to go through some things. You're going to want to see some things. You're going to have, there are income restrictions. So if you're making a bunch of money, you may not qualify. They like to give down payment assistance from moderate to low to moderate income folks. So if you're making a lot of money, you may not qualify. But if you're in a higher dollar area, so say you're in the Bay Area and you make $100,000, well, in some cases that's considered low income, right? So then you might qualify for down payment assistance. And then the other thing is, I just had some notes here. Who qualifies for down payment assistance? There's some down payment assistance that it's only for first-time home buyers. So you don't really have to worry about being a first-time home buyer all the time. There's some programs that you can take advantage of where you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. You could be a move-up buyer. You could be a second-time home buyer. What is a first-time home buyer? A first-time home buyer is anyone who has not purchased a home within the last 3 years. So say you had a home back in '95 and you haven't had a home since, guess what? You're considered a first-time home buyer again. That's a good thing. You could be, for most down payment assistance programs, you have to be a first-time home buyer, but not all of them. Is there any money out of pocket? Okay, so even though we're talking about 100% financing, you still have to pay some money out of pocket. Again, everything is not 100% free. So here's what you're going to need some money for. Even though your down payment's going to be paid, your closing costs are going to be paid, when you open up escrow to purchase a home, you still need a little bit of money. So even if you don't have to pay nothing, no down payment, no closing costs, you're still going to have to come up with something. So when your offer is accepted, you open up escrow, you're going to need at least a minimum of $1,000. Okay, that's to open up escrow. Okay, so you got to have some kind of skin in the game. So people often come to me, they be like, I want my down payment assistance and I don't want to pay no money down. Well, we got to put some money down. You got to have something. Okay. The other thing that you're going to have to pay for out of pocket is your appraisal. Okay. All appraisals are paid for by the buyer. So again, that's going to be something that you're going to have to come out of pocket with. And if you want any inspections on the home, you want any inspection, so say you want a termite inspection, a home inspection, that's also something that you're going to have to pay for out of your own pocket. So although your down payment, although your closing costs are going to be taken care of, you still have to come to the table with something. So be prepared. Don't come to me talking about I ain't got no money and I'm broke. You have money. When you go get an apartment, you're going to have that first, last, and deposit. So don't come to me wanting to buy a house and you ain't got no money. And then you looking at me sideways because you're like, I thought I could get a house with no money down. You still have to have some skin in the game. Okay, so I just want to make sure that we're clear on that. So when you come, just at least have a couple of $1,000, even though you're going to take advantage of the first-time home buyer program. Okay. The other thing is what kind of credit do you need to qualify? Because that's also important. Because often people will come and they'll be like, I want some down payment assistance, but they ain't worked on their credit. And that's the one thing that you will need is you'll need a minimum of a 640 credit score in most cases. Okay, so make sure that if your credit's not up to par, you're working with a 580. Look, I can get you a loan with a 580 credit score. You just got to pay your own down payment. Okay, if you got a 550 credit score, we can get you up to 580. We can get you up to 640. I can help you with that. My team can help you with that. But you have to make sure that if you want to utilize the government and the city and the state resources, you're going to have to at least have a minimum of a 640 credit score. Okay. Anybody have any questions so far? Am I being clear? Okay. So I wanted to talk about a few of the, let me make sure. Okay. I don't got no questions. Okay. So I want to talk to you about a few of the 100% financing programs that are out there. So let's first talk about California, just because I'm in California, and I know there's people that are tuning in from other states. California has the CalHAPA down payment assistance program, and that's through the state of California. Okay, they provide 3%. They provide a loan. It's a silent second. It's a 3% loan for the down payment, a 3% loan for the closing costs. Okay, and so this loan is not due until year 31 when you've paid off that first loan, or you've refinanced the house, number 2, or you've sold the house. Those are the only times that this loan is due, okay? Either when you've paid off the loan, year 31, when you paid off the loan in year 31, you've sold the home, or you've refinanced the home, then you have to pay this down payment assistance back. But it is a silent second, okay? And it's simple interest, and so it's not compounded like a regular loan. So that's the state of California. Also, within the counties, so I'm talking about California again before I go more broad. Different counties and different cities also have down payment assistance programs as well. Typically, when you're talking about city and county, they're really focused on lower income. So you got to be very, just keep that in mind when you're looking at programs. They're there to help you, but they're really there to help more of the lower income folks. So if you're making, a good moderate amount of income, then you may not qualify for like the city and the locals, but they are out there. And I have all of this information on the catalystrealestate.com/DPA for down payment assistance. So if you want to go to our website, not now, listen to me now, but if later you want to go to our website, we have all of the down payment assistance by city, by state, by region, by county, and you can go on there and just peruse through there. So some other 100% financing programs out there. Let's talk about it. You got VA. Any veterans? Any veterans? No veterans? Yeah. Like if you're a veteran? Okay. Well, so if you are not a veteran, but you know a veteran, VA loans are 100% financing. I absolutely love VA loans. Number one, they're really good for veterans. Number two, the rates are muy caliente. They're great. And number three, there's no PMI with the VA loans, so the payments are super low. And so I always get so happy when a veteran comes to me. The thing about a VA loan though is I don't want to say a lot of, sometimes those are not the most competitive offers to write. A seller may not want a VA loan over a conventional loan because a VA loan, there's certain requirements. The seller has to make sure that there's a termite pest clearance, that has to be in a certain standard. So for veterans, it's a great loan. They're protected, but a seller may not want to be bothered with a VA loan. Okay, so a VA loan, that's 100% financing. You can get in the house. In fact, you're going to have to, like I mentioned, you're going to have to pay for your appraisal, but a lot of times you'll even get the appraisal money back on a VA. So the government really takes care of a lot of veterans in that regard. A lot of people just are not familiar with that program. Can a child of a veteran purchase a home in VA? No. Can a widow of a veteran purchase a home with a VA loan? Yep, absolutely. So if you are a widow, if you know a widow, if you're a veteran, go ahead and send them my way. We can help you with that. The other one is a USDA loan, and I'm not sure if you are familiar with USDA loans. Okay, so if you live in an area like Stockton, and certain areas in Stockton, Mountain House is a USDA area, Patterson, those country areas, the rural, I always have a hard time saying rural areas, you can get a USDA loan that is 100% financing, but you have to be in a rural, you got to be in a rural area for the USDA loans, and that is also 100% financing. Okay, but again, for the USDA, there are income restrictions. Okay, the other one is a grant. It is a GSFA grant, and that again is, remember I talked about the grants. They're not, you don't have to repay them. You can get from 3 to 5% down a grant towards your closing costs. For those, your interest rates are going to be a little bit higher. However, it is, it's a great program. Okay, let me see. So the USDA, VA, the CHDAP, which is the CalHAFA. What else? There is a down payment assistance program that you don't have to pay back with a bank called Quatonic Bank, and they give you up to $7,500 towards your down payment. And that is a non-repayable loan. It is actually a grant. But you have to use them in terms of getting the loan. So, and that's fine too, because they have some pretty good rates for Quatonic Bank. I'm looking on here just to see the other ones. So we talked about CalHAFA, we talked about VA, we talked about USDA. They're also there for folks who do not want that restriction, and you have good credit but you have limited funds, there's also a down payment assistance, which is a equity boost. They call it the equity boost, where you put in 1% down. You need a minimum of a 720 credit score. You put in 1% down, and then we grant you the 2%. So it's a 3%, a 97% loan. All you're putting in is 1%. It is a great loan, very straightforward, and we close those ones relatively quickly. Okay. All right. Demetria said, I filed bankruptcy this year. I have a job and my credit is 626. All right, so if you file bankruptcy this year, you're going to have to wait 2 years before you are able to purchase again. Okay, so you're on your way. 626 for you to have filed this year, and your credit score to be already 626. That's spectacular. What I want to say to you, Ms. Fields, is make sure you keep your credit tight. Reestablish, get new credit cards. Make sure that you're on time. Don't get no new collections within 12 months. I promise you, if you do that, if you reestablish, keep your credit card utilization low, you'll be within 700 credit score within a year. Okay, but it's going to be 2 years before you're able to be purchased on like on an FHA loan. However, if you are a veteran, there's no rule against you purchasing right away. So if you're a veteran and you file bankruptcy, you can get right back into a home as long as that bankruptcy, or as long as you didn't foreclose on a VA loan. Okay? Does anybody else have any questions on any of the loan programs that I mentioned? All right. Thank you, Shaniqua Badger. I sure appreciate it. She's right. She said nobody works harder than Constance Carter. And I appreciate it. So again, go to our website, catalystrealestate.com, and we have all of the down payment assistance program on our website, and I'm gonna go there right now. Everything from city, state, region, all of those things. Oh, another one I wanted to mention to you is the Good Neighbor program. So if you are a firefighter, if you're a police officer, if you are a teacher, there's a down payment assistance program for you. It's a great program. Here's the catch to that. They want you to live in areas, in revitalization areas. But the cool thing is, say you buy in this area that's may have been a little shaky in the beginning, but it's an up and coming area, you get that home for 50% off. So say that home is $200,000, $300,000. You get it for $150,000 if you take this Good Neighbor program. So that's a good program. For teachers, there's an ECTP program, an extra credit teachers program that will give you down payment assistance if you are a teacher, if you're an administrator, if you're a superintendent, if you work in the education field. That's another great program for you. So if you know any teachers, that one is a really good program as well. Let me see, are there any other ones that I could think of that, no, I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Oh, last one, okay. Last one is a CRA loan. It's a Community Reinvestment Act. So this particular loan is offered by commercial banks. So your Bank of America, your Wells Fargo, your Citi, your Chase, your BBVA Compass. They have a CRA, which is a Community Reinvestment Act. And what that means is they have been slated to spend a specific amount of money to reinvestment areas. So that would be either folks who have low income or people who are purchasing in areas that are considered revitalization areas. Those offer, those offer 100% financing as well. So you don't have to come in with any down payment. There's no PMI, and it's also a really, really good program. I think BBVA Compass is repackaging it as a first-time homebuyer loan, but what it really is their CRA loan, and you can get it at, like I said, at any of the major retailer banks. And it's a great program. Again, there are income restrictions. I think you need a minimum of a 620. You need a minimum of a 620 credit score, and you have to be in a certain area in order to take advantage of this particular loan. Kelly Hutchinson said, what website? So if you go to catalystrealestate.com/DPA, we have all of the down payment assistance information that you can take advantage of. Demetria, if your husband is a veteran, then you need to inbox me or call me if you want to look at getting a VA loan, because again, like I said, there's no restriction on when you can get back in terms of purchasing. Can you be on a loan with someone who has a VA? Nicole, you can only be on a loan with someone who has a VA if you are their spouse. If you're their child, you're the friend, your homegirl, cousin, auntie, uncle, you can't be on nobody else's loan, but you can do it only if you're a spouse. And like I mentioned, if you're a widow, so let's say your spouse is no longer with us, and I did one a couple of years ago, spouse is no longer with us, but I was able to do the wife, and we put her in actually a CalVet loan. But CalVet and VA, pretty much the same thing. CalVet is a California VA loan. It's pretty much the same thing. Shaniqua said if they work in the public school district, they can be a janitor or staff, which means they can take advantage of the ETCP. Nicole said, my dad is a veteran. Can I be on a loan with him using his VA? What are the requirements of credit for someone using their VA loan? So I already answered the first. You can't be on a loan with your dad, your grandpa, your cousin, your auntie, your homeboy. You can't be on the loan with them. However, there are no minimum credit requirements for a VA loan. There's just not. What you can do is you can get the VA home loan in your dad's name if you wanted to. You can go on title. So he purchases that home. You go on title. You stay in the house for a year. You making the payments, and then you refinance the house into your name. How's that? Bomb. Okay. So that's actually a really good idea. Hello, I missed most of the live. Will it be a replay video? Absolutely, Sonia. Kelly, you're very welcome. Was there any other questions? So let me just recap, because some of you guys, hi, is there assistance for purchase of a second home? If not, how much down for a second home? Good question, Alexis. There is not currently any down payment assistance for a second home. The idea is that you should have enough equity in your first home to be able to purchase your second home. And it's really to help folks who otherwise aren't able to get in position. You already have a first home. Hopefully you have a little equity, but that is exactly what we teach folks. So use that house as your leverage to get into another home. I think it's so important that you're doing that. So you have the right idea, Alexis. Use that equity as leverage. And we talk about leverage a lot. So just so you know what leverage is, rich people do not use their own money when investing. They use leverage. They use other people's money. They use their credit. And that's the reason why I'm always talking about credit, because that's the first thing to help you get in a position to be able to start building wealth. So you buy that, you get in that home. Robert Kiyosaki, what he did, Rich Dad Poor Dad, read the book. He bought the first home. He used the equity as leverage to buy his second home. He used that equity as leverage to buy the third home. He used that as equity as leverage to buy, and now the man is a multi-millionaire. So you have the right idea, Alexis, when you're talking about using, getting into another home or having a second home or starting investing. Wonderful. You can start investing in a second home with as low as 3.5% down. So say Shaniqua was just on here talking. We just had a client who had a duplex that she had a loan on, and then we did another purchase with an FHA loan, 3.5% down. So she put a little bit of money out of this duplex. Now she has a fourplex. She's cash flowing all day long, 3.5% down. She came in winning. So there are different ways. So for a conventional loan, as minimum as low as 15% down. Typically on a conventional loan, you could do FHA, but you have to be living in the property on the new purchase. So you're going to have to use the old purchase as maybe a rental and then get a new property as an owner occupant for the lower down payment. There's definitely ways that you can do it to start creating your investment portfolio. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. So thank you for that, because I think that's really the core of what it is that we teach at Catalyst. So let me make sure I don't have any more. Nicole said, boom. Yep. Do you do any work in North Carolina? Kelly, I do not, but I have someone who may be on this live right now, Fionn Ware, who can probably help you in North Carolina. So I'll make sure that I make the connection and the introduction for you. But she's really, really, really good. Thank you for this, Constance. Info is a blessing. Thank you, Isaac. And if you have any other questions, hit me up in my inbox. I'm here. I'm available to help and answer any questions. Are there loans for foster parents? That's a good question. I haven't seen any loans for any foster parents, Kaija, but let me see. What would be the best approach for, I would just look at getting into just a regular down payment assistance program. But there's not anything out there specifically for that. But again, there is the grant program, which will give you 3 to 5% down. There's a CalHFA program. And then, I don't know if that's your core. One of the things I often tell my clients is, say you're paying $1,000 right now a month in your rent. And say, within 6 months or a year, you're getting ready to pay $1,500 for your mortgage. You're setting yourself up to start getting a mortgage, and you're getting ready to pay $1,500. What I want you to do, Kaija, and everybody else who's thinking about getting in position, is you got to start preparing yourself mentally to pay that $1,500. Start paying that today. So that $1,000 a month that you're paying, add another $500 and put that away. I don't care if you even put it in your safe deposit box. I'm only saying that because put it in there for a little bit so you won't touch it, but you're going to have to get it in the bank because the money has to be seasoned. So, you know, when we're looking at down payment, you cannot come in with mattress money. So you're going to have to put it in like 3 months, you know, bam, 3 months before you get ready to buy a house, put that mug in the bank. But start getting in position now, putting that $1,500 away. Or say you're paying $1,000 and you know your mortgage is about to be $2,000. Put $2,000 away, or put, you know, pay $1,000 and put another $1,000 away. So in 12 months, how much do you have? You have $12,000 that you've saved up because now you're disciplined, and then you're already in the mindset to begin making those $2,000 a month worth of payments. Okay, so that's what I would say to that. You know, again, you can take advantage of other down payment assistance. I don't know of anything for foster parents, but start positioning yourself to put money away. I love down payment assistance. I really do. It's a pain in the though to work with because you have to work with all of these other entities. So I love it, but it just what you have to go through in order to close the loan is not always the easiest thing. And so I say, if you have money to put down, put the money down, get in there, get the lowest interest rates, get your equity. You don't have to worry about your equity being taken from the silent second. You don't have to worry about your interest rate being higher. Put your own money down. Now you have the equity, you have the lower interest rate, and everything is good. I'm closing loans, regular loans, in 15 to 20 days. But when we're dealing with down payment assistance, then we're dealing with governmental entities, we're dealing with third parties. And again, I'm good with that if that's what you absolutely need. But just know that the process is going to be longer. It's going to be cumbersome. I'm going to get on your nerves. You're going to get on my nerves. The lender's going to get up. The bank's going to get on our nerves. Cal Half going to get on our nerves. Everybody, the underwriter going to get on our nerves because it's just, there's so many moving parts to it. And it just, you know, it could just be a pain in the butt, but you got to be, you know, ready to just like go through it with me. And what we try to do anyways, we try to have as least amount of pressure on you as possible. We try to take the brunt of the pressure. So I'm getting beat up, I'm getting uppercut, you know, everybody yelling at me, but it's not even me. It's the down payment assistance entity that you have to kind of wait for it. You know, you got to just deal with their processes. So I just want you to keep that in mind when we're dealing with down payment assistance. It's not easy, but you know, you're going to just have to tough through it. All right. I think that is it, unless anybody else has any questions. I'm going to end this now. Again, go to my website, catalystrealestate.com/DPA. Get all the information on down payment assistance throughout the state of California. And one of the things I'm working on, because I know that there are people that are not in the area, is I'm working on putting on that website the down payment assistance through all 50 states. So I actually have an engineer working on that right now. So hopefully maybe next time I go live, hopefully next week, I'll be able to say, hey, go to our website, and if you're in, you know, whatever, you're in Wyoming, here's the information for down payment assistance. We're just here to be a resource to you, okay? If you need any help on credit, my bookkeeping score, it was #1 again this week, but it was because it was free. I got so many free downloads. I was on Fox News the other day, and I said that it was going to be free, and folks has been downloading it like it's the thing to do. So it's #1, but I ain't getting no money. So that's cool. And then my Wealth Roadmap is our online training program, getting folks in position to be able to really understand, have the knowledge, and then really holistically be able to restore and repair and then get on the right track to financial freedom. So that is available, mywealthroadmap.com. So if you're interested in any of our products, that's all good. Sign up, and we're good to go. Any other questions, post them here on this thread or send them to me via inbox. All right? Take care. God bless. Ask Constance Live. I'm out.